Works. Okay. So basically, last time we pretty much went through the whole process of the presentation. You can't do everything correct on the presentation and still not get an appointment. The reason is, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general, you know what I mean? So the reason is, usually when that happens is that after you finish the presentation, whoever you're talking to, they're not comfortable with you. So that's why it's very important after you finish the presentation, they have to comfortable with who you are. They have to like and trust you. I'm not saying you gotta, try to kiss ass or try to, I'm just saying that you want to make sure after you finish talking with the homeowner, you want to make sure they're comfortable with who you are. Because if they're not comfortable with you, if they do not like you, if they do not, trust you, then it's not going to work. Doesn't matter how good of service you have, right? So I kind of make it into an acronym. It's comfort, the word, I made it into acronym. So the first one is the core things that you have to, to keep in mind. So the number one thing you got to keep in mind is that you got to uncover your character flaws. Because everybody have character flaws. Like in the beginning, when I started doing real estate, for a long time I wasn't doing very well because I think back then I have, because everybody have some character flaws, especially when they're younger. The older you get, the more you know about yourself. So the more you understand about yourself, so you probably can communicate, more efficiently. So I remember myself, for some time in the past, I used to be like kind of cocky, kind of sort of arrogant a little bit. So when I was like that, definitely my business wasn't good because, people do not like me, So that's why because this is something I kind of help you with. I mean, you got to figure out yourself, there's actually, a list of character flaws online. You can search for it and you can go through every one of them and ask yourself, do you have any of those character flaws? It's very important because if you have any of the character flaws, and if you're not aware of it, it's gonna greatly, affect your effectiveness. Like it's gonna greatly affect your communication. Your communication will not be, smooth. It's gonna be hard to communicate, to make the people, whoever you're talking to, feel comfortable about you. Another thing you gotta keep in mind is that you gotta have empathy. When you go meet with the client, you gotta have empathy for the client. Because let's say if your mindset going in, it's all about, getting the contract signed, it's all about, making the commission, that's not gonna work either. Because whoever you talk to, people are very sensitive, Whoever you talk to, whatever your displacement, whatever your position, whatever you're thinking about, they can feel it. Even if you don't say it, they can feel it. So that's why you really have to, whoever you talk to, any client you meet, you really have to have this genuine empathy, for the client. Because if you care about them, if you have the empathy for them, then you would be willing to spend the time to figure out the why, to discover what they want, like we talked about in the presentation. Another thing we want to make sure to, transfer confidence. We talk about this. So the most important thing of all, you got to make the person to feel comfortable. So in the later part today, I'm going to talk about, what of some of the exact, things we need to keep in mind to make sure that after the end of the conversation, that the client, whoever you talk to, feel comfortable about you. So the AEs, you guys have, you already have, pretty good experience about sales already, right? So one easiest way to get the client to trust you is to give them options, right? You don't want to just keep pushing for example, when I meet with homeowners, yesterday I was helping a buyer to buy a property. Normally I don't help buyers, but that's my friend. So I kind of, because they were asking me, oh, should I buy this home? What price should I offer? I tell them, I said, if you're buying this home for yourself to live in, you should buy it. And if you're just buying it for investment, you should not buy it. So I try to, obviously not, you should tell them the truth. You should give them objective opinion without, jeopardizing your deal. So you got to find an angle to do that. So actually that person, after I said that to her, she actually called me back. She said, I think I trust you more because you even told me not to buy your listing. So she's also one of my prospects. She's interested in investing in the mobile home park I'm purchasing, that she's interested to become a limited partner. So she actually told me, she said, because you even advised me against buying your listing, so I think I can trust you. So that's the easiest way to get trust from the client. That's very important, right? Because if you don't have trust, if they have some reservation about whether they can trust you or not, then it's gonna be hard for them to agree to do anything with you or sign any paperwork. Okay, so that's the basics of the I call it the MLA communication system. How to make the client feel comfortable. So the first one, so we're gonna go into the first one. We talk about the core, right? So these are the core items you need to keep in mind, and the next one is O, right? Letter O. So in the letter O, we're talking about open up the channel through chatting. So this is very important. So you want to make sure. So I think you guys have some good experience about it. So you want to make sure. So the whole process is chatting. So basically today we're talking about underlining psychology of the presentation that we just went through the last couple of weeks. So why you do what you do, why you say what you say. So today we're talking about underlining psychology. So you want to make sure that you chat with them to make sure they open up. You want to ask questions through chatting. Or you also want to share information about yourself, because if you're only asking questions, most people, they're not gonna open up to you, especially if they don't know you. If you're just meeting the person for the first time. So that's usually when I go meet with somebody new, I ask them some questions. Usually in the beginning, they're not gonna say something because we don't have any rapport. So if that's the situation, then I will start to share information about me. And preferably I share something that has some commonality with them. So as soon as I share my information about me, then they start to open up too. So this is actually very important, and it's a skill that most people do not think much of, but it's actually very effective. Because if you really get them, if you get them to open up to you, then everything becomes so much easier. Do you guys have any questions so far?
No, I'm good. Continue.
Yeah. So basically, you just ask questions, share information, just back and forth until they completely open up. And obviously, you watch out the timing, you keep control of the whole flow. So you determine whether they're ready to talk business or not. So once they're ready to talk business, then you go to the next section. So let's say if they did not open up for you, if they still have distrust for you, if they still don't feel comfortable sharing information about themselves with you, then you do not want to move into the next section, which is talking about business. And the next one is M, so in the M, so basically you want to make sure the person feel respected. So for me, it's very easy. Every time I go there, when I go to the homeowner's place, I just put on a shoe cover before I go in. This is a really good way to make the homeowner feel respected, because on the one hand, I don't have to be like a kiss ass. I don't have to do any much to kiss up to them. But on the other hand, the fact that I'm putting on my shoe cover, they can see that, because most agents, when they go to homeowners' home, they do not put on shoe cover. So you can easily, show them, hey, I'm respectful of you. I'm kind of different from other agents. So that's a very easy way to show respect. So basically, throughout the whole presentation, you want to make sure to maintain a good balance. You want to show respect, but you don't want to make yourself look like a kiss ass. You're not trying to be on the same level as them, but you don't want to. I don't know how to explain it. You just want to make them feel comfortable. You just want to show to them that you respect them, but at the same time, you're not because there are some agents because they try to get the deal, so they do whatever they want. They can't get it. Like for example, they beg for it. They try to kiss up to them. They do so they make themselves appear very low. You don't want to do that because if you do that, you're not gonna get the deal either. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So the next one is DISC. We talk about the DISC. So I'm just gonna go over it briefly. So basically, to find out DISC, you just ask what job they do, and then you figure out their DISC, and then you just talk in their preference. So for example, you just talk the way they want to be talked, right? So for example, the dominance people, they value outcome. They don't like the details. The influential people, they like the dominance people. They are usually like business owners, company owners. The influential people, they're usually salesperson. So they're talkative and they like to have fun. So usually, for example, when I talk to the person that's dominant personality. So I ask them what the job they do. If they say they're a business owner, then when I talk to them, I keep in mind, hey, so I'm gonna go through quickly to the outcome. I just kept guarantee them what outcome I can get them, and I try not to get into too much details because they don't like that. And for the influential people, I just try to talk to them in a fun way to make sure the conversation is interesting. And then there is the steadiness people. They are usually nurses. They care about feelings more. So in that case, for example, this I did an open house yesterday. This listing, the owner, she was a retired nurse. So when I was getting the listing, signing up the listing, I kept telling her about, I don't know, I think I shared this story with you now, I forgot. I kept telling her about how I, work with my staff, what I do for them. So because that's what she cared about, because she's this kind of personality. So she feel really good about what I share with her, then she signed the contract. And then you have the conscientious personality, like people that are usually engineers or CPAs. They care more about the details, the data. So for those kind of people, you want to share more of the numbers and the real life case scenario.
So Ray,
yeah,
that confuses me a little bit.
Yeah.
That confuses me a little bit because I would think steadiness would be an engineer, and conscious would be someone who's conscious about world problems and things like that. But it's weird how they have that set up. I don't know. That will always confuse me.
Yeah, you don't.
Consciousness
if it confuses you, just give it a different name. You don't have to use their name.
Okay.
Yeah, just as long as you know what they are. Yeah.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
A salesperson would be more like influential. Someone in sales.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's actually pretty effective. Because for example, the really obvious case is that if you try to talk to a dominant person and if you try to get into the details, if you're trying to go through the presentation page by page, they're gonna get really annoyed. Like last time I was talking to somebody called me and they're trying to sell me a website. So she kept talking, because I'm kind of dominant and I'm high D and high I. So she kept talking about the details. She kept trying to sharing with me, about what this website can do. I kept telling her, I said, I don't need the details. Just tell me how you're different. And she kept going back to her, like the details. I got really annoyed. so that really makes a big difference. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next, go ahead. Yeah.
No. That's all I had.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the next one is so basically we're going through the acronym, right? So C is the core items we just talked about. The O is open up the channel through chatting, and M is make the person feel respected. F is finding DISC, and O is offer higher status. So usually, people buy for status, right? Like the reason people buy, like famous brand like a Mercedes or Lamborghini or LV or Prada, because they're paying for the higher status. So basically you show that through what you have done, and also, the monopoly, the unique offers that we offer, that service that we offer. So you accomplish that by showing that.
Got it. Yeah, I get. I mean, in sales, the mentality is you get a nice car because it shows credibility. Mm-hmm. You know, no one's going to buy from someone riding around in a 1999 Toyota. That's what I see here, and that's what I saw in LA. Like, if you ride a certain car, there's a comfort level that certain people have with you, and that's what sales. But most other people who have corporate jobs, if they ride nice cars, usually they could ride in a 99 Toyota and no one would care any difference unless they're trying to just impress their friends.
Oh, that's
kind of how I see
that too. But I was saying about the reason why people buy Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, because it's just different logo. Yeah, but people perceive it as a higher status. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very true.
Okay, so the next one is a relevant praise for the client. So you do want to praise them, but you got to do it correctly. You got to do it in a way that's natural. It's actually makes. So, for example, I got a listing in Compton. Compton, yeah. So I was talking to this older gentleman. He's like 75. He's retired. So when I first got there, he was really cold. He was really confrontational. And from the beginning, he just said, "Oh, I'm not gonna list with anybody. I'm not gonna sign with anybody." Then when he started showing me homes. So I basically started the presentation from the get-go when he's showing the home. So basically, I'm figuring out the personality. So I ask him what he does. So he said he used to own a business. Then I know he's a dominance guy. Then I just kept telling him, what kind of outcome I could get him. And then so at the whole time he was showing me property, because I know there's no way I'm gonna be able to get him to sit down on the table, because he already in the beginning he's very confrontational. So that's why you gotta be flexible. You cannot expect to have every homeowner to sit in front of the table to listen to your presentation. Some people they don't want that. Just like that guy, he's a high D dominance guy. So we started the presentation. No, we didn't start the presentation. So he started showing me the home. So actually I was doing the presentation while he's showing me the home. So I was figuring out his personality, then figure out what he wants. Then in the beginning he was really cold. Then I was trying to, basically like all this I just shared with you. So I was doing all this while he's showing me the home. So and when he told me his age, I said, "Wow, I wish I can be like you when I'm your age." So just you gotta the praising the person is really makes. It's everybody knows about it, but the key is you just gotta do it subtly. You just gotta do it naturally. It cannot sound quirky, so that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make sure it's not quirky, it's not fake? So it's gotta be true, right? Whatever you're saying, it's gotta be real, and it's gotta be just right. Cannot be too much exaggeration.
Yeah, don't tell them you like their floors and they got 1980 tile in there, right?
Yeah.
They have 1980 tile on their floors, and you're like, "Oh, you have beautiful floors."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That.
Whatever you praise, it's gotta make sense. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay, the last part is to mirror the similarities. The common ground really makes sense. It really works. The common ground really works, because a couple months ago I was trying to, because I'm still calling the mobile home park owners all over the country. So a couple months ago I called a guy. So he's in Houston. He's a retired airplane pilot. So I just called him out of the blue. I just called and I said, "You have a mobile home park?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Are you selling a mobile home park?" So we just started chatting. So the good thing is that we found, as I was chatting with him, we clicked. We had a lot of similarities, a lot of similar background. This is more of an extreme case. I'm not saying every case has got to be like this, but you just gotta find ways to find commonality. like I was talking with him, then through conversation, what I found out is that he was in the army, so I was in the army. He was infantry, and I was infantry, and he was M60 gunner, and I was also M60 gunner. So we suddenly had a really good, common ground. So suddenly, there's a lot of more trust. Because like yesterday I was calling another mobile home park owner. So usually when I call, I just ask them a question right away. Do you have a mobile home park? Are you selling the mobile home park? How much do you want for it? How many spaces? Sometimes they don't tell you. A lot of times they don't tell you. Like yesterday when I was talking to that person, he was like, who are you? I don't even know who you are. I don't want to tell you all this information, right? So the way to get over that is so yesterday what I told him was that because I'm trying to share with him the commonality, right? So because I was calling around Georgia, Columbus, Georgia. So I told him, many years ago, I actually did my boot camp in Fort Benning, Columbus, Georgia. Then he said, and I told him also, yeah, that's like only an hour drive away from you. Then he felt much more comfortable because in the beginning, because usually they ask me where I'm calling from. So when I tell him I'm calling from California, usually they don't like people calling from California.
Yes.
It's like it's sometimes they don't like it. Then that's why I tried to tell him that I actually did boot camp in Georgia before, so suddenly there's much more rapport versus if I'm just from California, calling from California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, there's a lot of stuff you can mirror. Because basically you want to do whatever you can to get the common ground. You can mirror the temperament. That's actually very important too. So this one time, usually in the morning I do a walk around my house. Usually I do a long walk. Sometimes during the weekend there is a open house. Not open house. There is a garage sale. So I went to garage sale to one of these home, and before I got to the garage sale, there's another house a few doors down. It has an army flag, and the guy happens to be outside. So sometimes when I meet homeowners, I try to talk to them as well. So maybe you never know. I mean, sometimes it's without purpose. Sometimes it's a chat, but sometimes you never know. Maybe they want to sell their home. So I started chatting with him, and then I asked him, "Hey, you were in the army?" So I said, "I was in the army too." I'm not saying you have to be in the army. I mean, I'm just trying to find my common ground. So you can, do whatever you can to find your common ground when you talk to people, right? So then he said, we started chatting, and then he said, yeah, I did this, I did that. Then I told him, I said, every morning I walk 10,000. Every day I walk 10,000 steps, and after I said that, then he cut the conversation short. You know why? Because he was crippled. He's crippled. He cannot walk for 10,000 miles, 10,000 steps. You know what I mean? That will not be a commonality. That's gonna make him feel bad about himself. Because he's on a crutch. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have said that. Yeah. So if he's my client, I shouldn't have said that. Because when I say I walk 10,000 steps and he's on a crutch, then I'm separating us. I'm not finding common ground. He will feel bad about himself. Instead, what I should have said is that I should have said, I actually hurt my knee before and I couldn't walk correctly for like a month. It was really painful. So if I said that, then he would feel good about the conversation. You know what I mean? Because I'm talking something similar to his situation. It's very important because so this is just an example. On the higher ground. So I know we talked about the personality difference, right? The fourth personality. But there is also the personality is also mirroring. You're trying to mirror their personality. I mean, the way they want to be talked to. So you also want to mirror their displacement. Because some people are inherently more optimistic. Some people are inherently more pessimistic, right? So for example, me, I'm more optimistic. But if I'm going to meet with a homeowner that's pessimistic, I need to tone down my displacement a little bit. I need to, mirror a little bit more of that person. You know what I mean, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as it's the same thing as when I was telling him I was walking 10,000 steps, it make him feel bad. But if I'm optimistic, if I'm just talking in my own native personality, the homeowner, if he's a pessimistic person, he will not feel good about me. He will not feel comfortable about me. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So, like I was saying, the reason I want to put this into the training is because it's very important. It's like you could do everything correct. You could be perfect. You could get them $100,000 more money for their house. If after the conversation, if they don't feel comfortable about you, as you can see, there could be many things going wrong. If something you said, if some way you acted, I'm not trying to tell you to please people. I'm just trying to share with you how you can increase your success rate of closing by being more mindful of the way you communicate with the person, so that you make sure that they feel comfortable about you, and they feel comfortable talking with you after you finish the presentation. Mm-hmm. Because
I think that's where. Go ahead. I know I was going to say. I think that's where I think that's where my strength is. I know my strength is the weakness. My weakness is closing. Yeah. My strength is rapport building. But last week you said something that will help me with closing. It's almost like a mind trick when you said. Remember when you said, okay, the next step we have to take the pictures, but to take the pictures we need to get the paperwork done. Yeah. For me, that's big. That takes, okay, now it makes it easier for me to close now, because I'm not asking them to sign a document. I'm saying you have to do this to get to the next step. Yeah. If you want to increase your closing rate, you have to really be good at the closing part. Because you might have a different displacement where you are not as comfortable with the closing part. But if you want to, be good at it, at the closing, then you gotta, kind of brush up that part of it. Yeah. Yeah, I wish, and that's why, perfect world, Ian and I would go to every appointment together. I would do all the talking in the beginning, and then when it's time to close, Ian would come. Because the thing is, if I'm master rapport builder, I can build rapport with anyone. Yeah. I can't close anyone. Yeah, that's actually very important. Yeah. So I kind of tweaked the structure a little bit. So it's actually instead of 4 step, is 3 step. So the first step is chatting. So basically you chat to find out the personality and find out the why and build a rapport. So that should be 70% of the presentation, chatting, 70% of the time. So 20% is to you tell story to show the success story, the case. Tell story to show the success case, like how you're different, why you can get them better. I did this to this seller, we got them this money, this much more money, and then the 10% is the ask question to go to the closing. So that's the reason you spend 70% on the chatting. To build rapport, to find out why, and I don't want to say, the rapport is something you have to keep in the back of your mind, but also it's very important. You want to make sure you know exactly their selling, their personality. You want to copy, you want to mirror them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's what I'm saying is I do that stuff naturally. Like I don't even have to think about it. The closing part, I have to think about it. That's what I'm saying. I have to manually.
What was your disc? What was your disc number?
It's D. I was more balanced, but high D and whatever one is the conscious one. not the conscious. I'm sorry, the steadiness.
So, that's like a more caring type.
Right. High D was the highest, and second was steadiness, and third was I.
Yeah, but D, that's kind of weird because D usually are good at closing. But what's kind of stop you is the caring part, because you're more worried about what they think, how they feel. So that's kind of you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I'm a numbers person, and it's like I don't understand. It's hard for me to say, okay, you don't want to close. Why? Everything's there, but closing is a feeling. When someone gives you the permission to sell their house, they're really giving you permission inside of their life. That's how they feel. Mm-hmm. When I look at it, it's like I'm trying to help you. You know, I'm doing you a favor. Look at the numbers. I'm going to work my best to get your house closed, get it sold. Mm-hmm. So when I sell, I'm like, if I come out with numbers and you don't understand it, then it's okay. You know, I've sat here, I built a relationship with you, I built a rapport with you, and now you don't want to do this. So I get a little bit discouraged. But my closing rate isn't bad now. My closing rate of every time I've sat down and I keep track of it, I'm about right under 50% right now. So, but all of my last appointments have been like closing, like I've been able to close. But if I go back over the last 4 years, I'm still right under 50% because I lost a lot of deals because I couldn't close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about it then, I guess, today. Let me see what else. Is Ian left? Is Ian still here?
Oh, yeah, he left. He had to go.
Okay. All right, yeah, so that's it. So just comfort the acronym, some of the core ideas, and then open up the channel, make the person feel respected, and find disc, and offer higher status and relevant praises, and also to mirror similarities.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Ray.
All right, thank you. Bye.